Who let a human battleship get this close? The question echoes through Imperial Command as 20 dreadnoughts surround the HMS Vanguard. When the Empire's flagship charges its plasma cannon, Captain Trent orders a single, devastating response. The human vessel's gravitational pulse precisely vaporizes an uninhabited asteroid, demonstrating overwhelming power with surgical restraint, forever altering the balance between civilizations. The klaxons shrieked through Sensor Station Vega 9, their undulating wail slicing through the typical hushed ambience of the monitoring deck. Lieutenant Morrow's eyes widened as he stared at the holographic display, his webbed fingers frantically recalibrating the system. "This can't be right," he muttered, the bioluminescent spots along his temples flashing in agitation. Something this size couldn't possibly have. The station commander, a willowy Selkarian with ceremonial rank markings etched into his exoskeleton, loomed over Morrow's workstation. "Report, Lieutenant." Morrow swallowed hard, his gill slits fluttering. "Commander, sensors have detected an unidentified vessel approximately 15 million kilometers from Selkar Prime. It wasn't there 3 minutes ago." "Preposterous. Run a diagnostic." "Already did, sir. Twice." Morrow's voice trembled as the readout confirmed his worst fears. "It's real. And it's enormous. At least 5 kilometers in length. Heavily armored, with energy signatures unlike anything in our database." The commander's mandibles clicked in alarm. "Origin? Classification?" Morrow hesitated, his fingers skittering across the interface. "That's what's strangest, sir. The quantum resonance pattern. It's human." A stillness fell over the monitoring deck, broken only by the persistent alarm. "Human?" The commander's voice dropped to a whisper. "That's impossible. Their colonies are restricted to the Orion Spur. They've never ventured this deep into Imperial space." The main view screen flickered to life, rendering the intruder in cold, clinical detail. A massive vessel of gunmetal gray, sleek despite its size, bristling with what appeared to be weapons emplacements along its spine. No Imperial transponder. No recognized identification markings except for 4 letters emblazoned across its hull. HMS Vanguard. "Alert Defense Command," the commander ordered, his voice steady despite the tremor in his limbs. "Priority Alpha, and may the ancestors preserve us all." Within moments, the message had cascaded through subspace relays to the gleaming spires of the Imperial Palace on Selkar Prime. In the sterile white halls of Imperial Defense Command, Commander Alana Vesh received the alert with practiced calm that belied the storm brewing inside her. Vesh had spent 20 years patrolling the Empire's borders, fought in 3 frontier skirmishes, and supervised the construction of the latest generation of quantum sensor arrays. She had staked her reputation on the impenetrability of the defense grid. And now, somehow, an alien warship had materialized deep within sovereign Imperial space. "Visual confirmation?" she demanded, striding into the command center, her uniform immaculate despite having been summoned from her sleep cycle. Her second-in-command, a battle-scarred veteran named Credo, gestured toward the central holotank. "Live feed from Vega 9 and 3 other stations. It's holding position just beyond our inner defense perimeter." The holographic projection showed the human vessel suspended against the void, utterly still, unnervingly patient. "Weapon status?" "That's the peculiar thing, Commander," Credo replied. "Scans indicate weapon systems are powered down. They're transmitting a single message, repeating on all frequencies in Galactic Basic." "Let's hear it." The room filled with a human voice, measured and clear. "This is Captain Elias Trent of HMS Vanguard. We come unarmed and seek diplomatic recognition, awaiting your response." Vesh's violet eyes narrowed. "Unarmed? That vessel could level a small moon." "The technical analysis team agrees with your assessment," Credo said, handing her a data crystal. Preliminary scans suggest capabilities far beyond what our intelligence reports indicated about human military technology. Vesh inserted the crystal into her personal terminal, quickly scanning the findings. How did they penetrate our outer sensor grid? The stealth technology required would be centuries beyond what we believed they possessed, Credo finished grimly. Vesh took a deep breath, centering herself as she'd been trained. Have they made any aggressive movements? None. They've maintained the same position since detection. And High Command. The Council of Lords has convened an emergency session. They're awaiting your tactical assessment. Vesh squared her shoulders. Deploy 3 dreadnought squadrons to establish a containment perimeter. Alert planetary defenses on Selkar Prime and all inter-system colonies. And patch me through to this. Captain Trent. Before Credo could comply, the communications officer interrupted. Commander, I have an urgent message from High Command. They're ordering immediate neutralization of the intruder. Vesh felt her heart stutter. Without attempted communication? Without ascertaining their intentions? The order comes directly from Lord Admiral Kex. Of course it would be Kex, Vesh thought bitterly. The old Warhawk had been itching for an excuse to expand military operations toward human space for years. Prepare a response to High Command, Vesh said carefully. Inform them that we are deploying forces as ordered, but request clarification on engagement protocols. Site Regulation 47B, regarding first contact scenarios with technically advanced species. It wasn't quite insubordination, but it would buy her time. As her staff scrambled to execute her orders, Vesh studied the human vessel more carefully. Its design was elegant, but unmistakably martial. A predator waiting to strike. Yet something about its passive stance nagged at her tactical instincts. If they had wanted to attack, why announce their presence at all? With technology advanced enough to bypass the Empire's vaunted defenses, they could have struck without warning. Commander, Credo approached again, lowering his voice. The dreadnought deployment is facing delays. What kind of delays? Vesh demanded. Administrative ones? Requisition approvals? Crew rotation schedules? Pre-launch protocols? Vesh swore under her breath. The Empire's military might was legendary, but so was its bureaucracy. Override them. Use my authority code. I've tried. It seems the delays are coming from several departments simultaneously. Politics. While a potential first-strike weapon hovered near the Imperial throne world, the various military factions were positioning themselves to either claim credit or avoid blame. Typical. Get me a direct line to the flagship, Vesh ordered. I'll speak to Admiral Soros personally. As her staff worked to establish the connection, Vesh returned her attention to the human vessel. What game were they playing? And more importantly, how should she respond? Light years away, yet simultaneously present in the command center through the miracle of quantum entanglement communications. The Imperial Council debated the crisis with considerably less calm. This is an act of war, Lord Admiral Kex thundered, his ceremonial armor gleaming under the council chamber's crystal illumination. We must respond with overwhelming force. Princess Selra, the Emperor's youngest daughter, and an unexpected voice in military matters, leaned forward. With respect, Lord Admiral, we know nothing of their intentions beyond their stated desire for diplomatic recognition. Their intentions were made clear when they violated our sovereignty, Kex retorted. The humans have been contained in their sector for a reason. Their history is rife with aggression and expansionism. Emperor Draus, his exoskeleton dulled with age but his eyes still sharp, raised a hand for silence. What do our analysts say about this vessel's capabilities? The Imperial Science Advisor, a diminutive figure whose species had evolved in low gravity, floated forward. Your Radiance, preliminary assessments suggest the human vessel possesses technology we had not anticipated them developing for at least another century. Their stealth systems alone represent a paradigm shift in quantum field manipulation. Could they have acquired this technology from another species? the Emperor asked. Unlikely. The design aesthetics and energy signatures are distinctly human, merely advanced beyond our projections. Then how do you explain this sudden leap forward? Princess Selra pressed. The science advisor's multifaceted eyes flickered. There are two possibilities, Your Highness. Either our intelligence on human technological development has been woefully inadequate for some time, or, the Emperor prompted, or this vessel represents only the tip of the spear, a showcase of capabilities they have deliberately kept hidden until now. A murmur rippled through the council chamber. Lord Admiral Kex seized the moment. You see, they have been deceiving us, building their strength in secret. This is precisely why we must strike now, before they can bring more such vessels to bear. And if this ship is merely the first of many, Princess Selra challenged, if destroying it simply alerts their fleet that diplomacy has failed, we could be precipitating the very conflict we seek to avoid. Emperor Draus steepled his fingers, a gesture he had adopted from studying other species. What does Commander Vesh recommend? The Imperial Marshal, responsible for relaying Defense Command's assessments, consulted his datapad. Commander Vesh suggests establishing a containment perimeter while opening communications channels. She cites regulations regarding technologically advanced species and first contact protocols. Regulations, Kex scoffed, when an invader threatens the throne world itself. A single ship, however advanced, is hardly an invasion force. Princess Selra noted dryly. Perhaps not, the Emperor said thoughtfully. But it may well be a test of our resolve, our capabilities, our response times. The question becomes, what message do we wish to send in return? As the Imperial Council deliberated, aboard the HMS Vanguard, Captain Elias Trent stood on the bridge with his hands clasped behind his back, projecting a confidence he didn't entirely feel. Status report, XO, he ordered. Commander Sarah Reeves, his executive officer, looked up from her console. Imperial forces are mobilizing, Captain. Long-range sensors detect 3 dreadnought squadrons preparing to launch. Their response is slower than intelligence predicted. Bureaucracy, Trent said with a slight smile. The one constant across all civilizations. They've made no attempt to respond to our hail, Reeves noted. They're still processing the shock. According to our cultural briefs, the Selkarian Empire has maintained technological superiority over its neighbors for 7 centuries. The appearance of an advanced human warship in their inner sanctum violates their entire worldview. Chief Engineer Rhea Kwan entered the bridge, her uniform bearing the smudges of hands-on work despite her senior rank. Captain, I've fine-tuned the quantum cloak as requested. We're maintaining just enough signature to be tracked by their sensor grid. Excellent work, Rhea, Trent nodded. We want them to see us, but not too clearly. Sir, Reeves interjected. Incoming transmission from an Imperial patrol frigate. They're demanding our immediate surrender and withdrawal. Put it on screen, Trent ordered. The main view screen flickered to show a Selkarian officer, his exoskeleton polished to a ceremonial shine. Human vessel, you have violated Imperial sovereign space. Power down all systems and prepare to be boarded, or withdraw immediately beyond the Cygnus boundary. You have 5 minutes to comply. Trent exchanged glances with his senior officers before responding. Imperial vessel, this is Captain Elias Trent of the HMS Vanguard. We acknowledge your message but cannot comply with either demand. We are here on a diplomatic mission authorized by the United Earth Government, and will remain until we receive appropriate recognition. Your presence is an act of aggression, the Imperial officer insisted. The Empire does not recognize human diplomatic status beyond your designated sector. That, Trent said calmly, is precisely what we're here to change. He signaled for the transmission to be cut. They're charging weapons, the tactical officer reported. Defensive posture only, Trent ordered. Shields at maximum, but no targeting locks. I want passive countermeasures only. The bridge crew exchanged nervous glances. They had trained for this mission for months, but simulation was one thing. Facing the legendary Imperial fleet was quite another. "Captain," Reeves said quietly, "the diplomatic packet from Earth Command specified that we should avoid military confrontation if possible. It also authorized us to demonstrate human technological capability, if necessary, to force recognition." Trent countered, "Let's see how this plays out before we escalate." The tactical officer tensed. "Sir, they've fired. Warning shots across our bow." The massive battleship remained steady, its advanced inertial dampeners compensating for the nearby energy discharges. "No response," Trent ordered. "Let them see their weapons have no effect on our shields." "Captain," the communications officer called out, "I'm detecting increased chatter on Imperial channels. It appears our non-response has caused some consternation." Trent allowed himself a small smile. "Good. Confusion leads to caution. Caution leads to dialogue." On the Imperial flagship Imperator Rex, Admiral Saurus watched with growing unease as the patrol frigate's warning shots dissipated harmlessly against the human vessel's energy shields. "No effect whatsoever," his weapons officer reported. "Their shield technology appears to operate on principles our sensors cannot fully analyze." "What of our dreadnoughts?" Saurus demanded. 20 minutes from intercept, Admiral." Saurus grimaced. 20 minutes during which this human interloper could wreak untold havoc if its peaceful stance was merely a ruse. He opened a channel to Defense Command. "Commander Vesh, what is your assessment of the situation?" Vesh's holographic image appeared on the command deck. "Admiral, I believe we should proceed with caution. The human vessel has made no aggressive moves despite our warning shots. Their technology clearly surpasses our intelligence estimates, which suggests either a significant intelligence failure or a deliberate showcasing of advanced capabilities." "You think this is a demonstration?" Saurus asked. "Consider the evidence, Admiral. They appeared precisely where they would be detected, announced their presence, and stated a clear diplomatic objective. If their intention was military action, why telegraph their arrival?" Saurus nodded slowly. He had not risen to fleet command by being reckless. "Your recommendation? Establish the containment perimeter as planned, but open communications. Learn their true purpose before committing to irreversible action." Before Saurus could respond, a priority communication from the Imperial Palace interrupted their discussion. Lord Admiral Kex's austere visage filled the screen. "Admiral Saurus, the Council has reached a decision. You are to proceed with Protocol 7 immediately." Saurus blanched. Protocol 7 was planetary defense doctrine for existential threats, a full-power attack with all available forces. "Lord Admiral, with respect, the situation does not appear to warrant such an extreme response. The human vessel has taken no hostile action." "Its presence is hostile action enough. You have your orders, Admiral." The transmission cut abruptly, leaving Saurus staring at Vesh's concerned hologram. "This is madness," Vesh said quietly. "If that vessel possesses the offensive capabilities our scans suggest, Protocol 7 could trigger a response that would devastate our fleet." Saurus closed his eyes briefly, feeling the weight of command. "I have my orders, Commander." "Orders based on fear rather than tactical assessment," Vesh pressed. "At least allow me to attempt communication before you commit the fleet." After a moment's hesitation, Saurus nodded. "You have 5 minutes. Commander, make them count." As Defense Command scrambled to establish a direct communication link with the human vessel, Captain Trent observed the increasing Imperial activity with growing concern. "They're deploying an attack formation," Reeves reported. "All 20 dreadnoughts, plus support vessels. Time to intercept? 12 minutes at current speed." Trent frowned. This was escalating faster than the diplomatic simulations had predicted. "Rhea, status of our defensive systems?" Chief Engineer Kwan consulted her tablet. "Shields at 100%. All countermeasures ready. But Captain, if they commit their entire fleet against us..." "We're not here to fight a war," Trent assured her. "Just to make a point. Incoming transmission, the communications officer announced. Different frequency, stronger signal. It appears to be coming from their defense command. On screen, Trent ordered. Commander Alana Vesh appeared, her violet eyes intense, even through the transmission. Captain Trent, I am Commander Vesh of Imperial Defense Command. You have entered restricted space without authorization and refused lawful orders to withdraw. Explain your presence immediately. Trent straightened, recognizing the gravity of the moment. Commander Vesh, humanity has attempted conventional diplomatic outreach to the Selkarian Empire for 50 years, only to be rebuffed or ignored. We are here to demonstrate that we can no longer be dismissed as an insignificant species on the galactic fringe. Vesh's expression remained impassive. By threatening our capital world with a warship, we have made no threats, Trent countered. We have fired no weapons. We simply wish to establish formal diplomatic relations between our civilizations. Your method of requesting dialogue suggests underlying hostility. Captain. Perhaps, Trent acknowledged. But after 5 decades of being ignored, we determined a more noticeable approach was required. And if we refuse your demand for recognition? Trent hesitated, aware that his next words could determine the course of human-Selkarian relations for generations. Commander, let me be clear. The Vanguard is not here to start a war, but its presence demonstrates a reality your empire must acknowledge. Humanity is now capable of projecting power throughout this sector. We would prefer to do so as friends and trading partners, rather than potential adversaries. Vesh studied him silently for a moment. You realize our fleet is converging on your position? We are aware. And you maintain your current stance despite this? We do. Vesh seemed to come to a decision. I will convey your position to my superiors. But I must warn you, Captain, there are those in our government who view your presence as sufficient provocation for immediate military response. I understand, Trent said gravely, but I hope cooler heads will prevail. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge of the Vanguard in tense silence. Think she'll advocate for diplomacy? Reeves asked quietly. She strikes me as pragmatic, Trent replied. And pragmatism should dictate caution when facing unknown capabilities. Dreadnoughts now 7 minutes from optimal firing range, the tactical officer reported. Maintain current posture, Trent ordered, but bring the demonstration package online, just in case. Deep within the Vanguard's engineering section, specialized systems hummed to life as power was redirected from the massive ship's fusion core. The technology had never been deployed outside of controlled tests. But the specifications were clear. A focused gravitational pulse, capable of disrupting matter at the subatomic level, contained within a precisely defined target area. Not a weapon of war. Earth Command had insisted during the mission briefing, a demonstration of capability only, to be used as a last resort. Trent hoped it wouldn't come to that. In the Imperial Palace, Commander Vesh stood before the Emperor and Council, having been summoned to deliver her assessment in person. The human captain claims they seek diplomatic recognition. Your Radiance, she reported. They have demonstrated advanced technology, but have taken no hostile action despite our warning shots. Their very presence is hostile, Lord Admiral Kex interrupted. They have penetrated our defenses, exposed vulnerabilities in our security. Which suggests, Princess Selra interjected smoothly, that if their intentions were truly hostile, they could have done far worse than hover politely at our doorstep requesting talks. Emperor Draus raised a hand for silence. Commander Vesh, you have fought on our frontiers. You understand threats. Do you believe this human vessel poses an immediate danger to Selkar Prime? Vesh chose her words carefully, aware that her answer could influence the fate of millions. Your Radiance. I believe they possess the capability to inflict significant damage. However, their behavior thus far suggests restraint and a specific diplomatic objective rather than military aggression. So you recommend we reward their territorial violation with diplomatic recognition? Kex demanded incredulously. I recommend we acknowledge the reality they have demonstrated, Vesh replied evenly. Their technology has outpaced our intelligence assessments. They can reach our core worlds undetected. These facts will remain true whether we destroy this vessel or not. And if we destroy it, we may provoke a wider conflict with a species whose full capabilities we clearly do not understand. The Emperor nodded slowly. A measured assessment, Commander. Yet Protocol 7 has already been initiated. Admiral Saurus's fleet will engage the human vessel within minutes. Your Radiance, Vesh said urgently. I request permission to countermand that order, at least until we have exhausted diplomatic alternatives. A murmur ran through the council chamber at her audacity. Countermanding a Protocol 7 directive was unprecedented. Before the Emperor could respond, the science advisor rushed into the chamber, his anti-gravity harness whirring with the speed of his entrance. Your Radiance! Urgent news from the fleet! Speak, the Emperor commanded. The human vessel is changing. Energy readings are spiking across all monitored frequencies. They appear to be activating some form of... We're not certain what. The chamber's central holotank activated, showing a real-time feed from the approaching Imperial fleet. The HMS Vanguard remained outwardly unchanged, but surrounding it was a subtle distortion in space itself, as though reality were being gently stretched. What are we seeing? The Emperor demanded. Unknown. Your Radiance, the science advisor admitted. But the power requirements for such a field would be astronomical. Lord Admiral Kex stood abruptly. They're preparing to attack. This proves my point. Or they're preparing to defend themselves against our approaching fleet, Princess Selra countered. Emperor Draus turned to Vesh. Commander, open a channel to the human vessel. I will speak with this Captain Trent myself. As the Imperial fleet closed to firing range, Captain Trent received the unexpected communication request. It's coming directly from the Imperial Palace, the communications officer reported, unable to hide her surprise. Priority channel. It's the Emperor himself, sir. Trent straightened his uniform jacket. Well, that got their attention. On screen, the imposing figure of Emperor Draus appeared, his ancient exoskeleton bearing the ceremonial etchings of centuries of rule. Captain Trent, I am Emperor Draus, sovereign of the Selkarian Dominion and protector of the Thousand Worlds. Trent bowed his head respectfully. Your Imperial Majesty, the United Earth Government extends its greetings. You have chosen an unusual method of introduction, Captain, the Emperor observed dryly. Most diplomats do not arrive in battleships capable of evading our most sophisticated defenses. Conventional approaches proved ineffective. Your Majesty, we deemed a more direct demonstration necessary. A demonstration that now includes some form of energy field surrounding your vessel? Our scientists are quite alarmed by its properties. Trent maintained his composure. A precautionary measure only. Your Majesty, your fleet approaches in attack formation. On my orders, the Emperor acknowledged. Orders I am now reconsidering in light of our conversation. However, I must ask, what is the nature of this energy field? A defensive technology, Trent replied carefully. One we hope not to employ. Perhaps a small demonstration of its capability would clarify our position. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. Proceed. Trent nodded to his tactical officer. Target the uninhabited moon of Selkar 7. Minimal pulse, 10% power. On the view screen, Emperor Draus conferred briefly with advisors off-screen before responding. Very well. We will observe. The Vanguard's main sensors locked onto the distant, barren moon, orbiting the system's outermost gas giant. A targeting beam, visible only as a slight shimmer in space, extended from the ship's prow. Pulse ready, Captain, the tactical officer reported. Execute? For a brief moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, on the tactical display, a small section of the moon's surface, an area roughly 1 kilometer in diameter, simply ceased to exist. No explosion, no debris. The targeted region had been transformed into its component particles, dispersed harmlessly into space. On the view screen, Emperor Draus's expression remained controlled, but the advisors visible in the background reacted with undisguised shock. "A precise application," Trent explained calmly. "The technology can be scaled and focused as needed. We have no desire to use it against any inhabited world or vessel. Yet you bring it to our doorstep," the Emperor noted, "as proof that humanity can no longer be marginalized in galactic affairs." Trent confirmed. "We seek recognition not through conquest, but through respect for our capabilities." The Emperor was silent for a long moment. "You have made your point eloquently, Captain. I am ordering our fleet to stand down. Perhaps we should discuss the terms of this diplomatic recognition you seek." "Thank you, Your Majesty. The United Earth Government has prepared a proposed treaty establishing mutual recognition, trade protocols, and non-aggression guarantees. We're transmitting it now." As the document transfer began, Trent allowed himself to breathe normally for the first time in hours. The mission, dangerous, audacious, and controversial even among Earth's leadership, appeared to be succeeding. "Captain," Commander Reeves said quietly, "the Imperial flagship is breaking formation. One vessel maintaining course toward us." Trent frowned. "Identification?" "Markings indicate it's the Imperator Rex, Admiral Saurus's command ship." "They're charging weapons," the tactical officer added. On the view screen, Emperor Draus turned sharply to someone off-screen. "What is the meaning of this? I ordered all vessels to stand down." "Your Majesty," a voice replied, just audible through the transmission. "Lord Admiral Kex has invoked Military Protocol 12A. He claims your Radiance is negotiating under duress and has temporarily assumed command of the fleet." The Emperor's expression darkened with fury. "This is outrageous. I am speaking freely and of my own will." "The protocol has already been executed. Your Radiance. Admiral Saurus's vessel is committed to—" The transmission cut abruptly as the Imperator Rex fired its main plasma cannon directly at the Vanguard. "Incoming!" the tactical officer shouted. "Shields to maximum," Trent ordered calmly. "Defensive posture only." The massive energy discharge from the Imperial flagship struck the Vanguard's shields, creating a spectacular display as advanced countermeasures dispersed and absorbed the attack. The human vessel shuddered slightly, but remained intact and operational. "Shields holding at 82%, Chief Engineer Quan reported. "Impressive weapon, but nothing we can't handle." "They're preparing a second volley," Tactical warned. Trent's expression hardened. "It seems not everyone in the Empire shares their Emperor's wisdom. Target the Imperator Rex's weapons array only. Precision pulse, minimum effective yield." "Target locked," the tactical officer confirmed. "Pulse charged." "Fire!" This time, the effect was visible to the naked eye. A brief distortion in space, followed by a surgically precise removal of the Imperial flagship's main cannon. The massive weapon simply vanished, leaving the vessel otherwise intact but effectively disarmed. "Direct hit," Tactical reported. "Their weapon systems are offline." "Hail them," Trent ordered. Admiral Saurus appeared on screen, his expression a mixture of shock and grudging respect. "Human vessel, it appears we have underestimated your capabilities." "Admiral," Trent acknowledged, "we have disabled your weapons but deliberately avoided casualties. Please stand down the remainder of your fleet. We wish to continue our diplomatic discussion with Emperor Draus without further interruption." Before Saurus could respond, Commander Vesh appeared behind him. "Admiral, I have a direct Imperial mandate countermanding Protocol 12A. The Emperor orders all vessels to withdraw to a defensive perimeter at minimum safe distance." Saurus hesitated only briefly before nodding. "Acknowledged, Commander. All vessels, comply with the Emperor's order." As the Imperial fleet began to disperse, Trent turned to his crew. Stand down from battle stations. Maintain defensive posture but power down the demonstration package. Captain, Reeves said. Incoming transmission from the Imperial Palace. Multiple channels. Let's hope this one goes more smoothly, Trent murmured. On screen, Emperor Draus reappeared, now flanked by Princess Selra and Commander Vesh. Captain Trent, I offer the Empire's apology for that unauthorized action. The officer responsible is being detained. No apology necessary, Your Majesty, Trent replied diplomatically. In any first contact scenario, misunderstandings are inevitable. Nevertheless, you showed remarkable restraint in your response. You could have destroyed Admiral Saurus's vessel entirely. That would have defeated the purpose of our mission, Trent said simply. We came to establish peaceful relations, not to demonstrate human military superiority. Though you have certainly accomplished both, Princess Selra observed with what might have been a smile. The Emperor inclined his head. Indeed. I have reviewed your proposed treaty. While some details will require negotiation, I am prepared to establish formal diplomatic relations between the Selkarian Empire and humanity, effective immediately. Thank you, Your Majesty. Earth will be pleased to hear it. We will require time to prepare suitable facilities for your diplomatic delegation, the Emperor continued. In the meantime, Commander Vesh has proposed an elegant solution for our initial discussions. Vesh stepped forward. Captain, we maintain a neutral orbital station at the boundary between the inner and outer system. It has accommodations suitable for various species and appropriate security protocols. Would this be acceptable for preliminary negotiations? Entirely acceptable, Commander, Trent agreed. When shall we begin? Our delegation can be ready within 12 standard hours, the Emperor replied. I trust that will be sufficient time for you to prepare as well? We've been preparing for 50 years, Your Majesty, Trent said with a slight smile. 12 hours will be more than adequate. As the transmission ended, the bridge crew of the Vanguard broke into spontaneous applause. Trent raised his hands for quiet. Well done, everyone. But this is just the beginning. Commander Reeves, prepare the diplomatic team. Chief Quan, I want a full diagnostic on all systems, especially shields. After that hit we took. Already on it, Captain, Quan assured him. Captain, the communications officer interrupted. I'm receiving a transmission from Earth Command. They're requesting a status update. Trent smiled. Tell them mission accomplished. The Selkarian Empire has agreed to diplomatic recognition. No casualties on either side. As the message was relayed, Trent allowed himself a moment of reflection. The mission had been controversial from its inception. Deploying Earth's most advanced warship as a diplomatic tool had struck many as provocative at best, reckless at worst. Yet the alternative, continuing to be ignored by the dominant power in the sector, had become increasingly unacceptable as human expansion brought their borders ever closer to Imperial territory. Sir, Reeves approached, breaking his reverie. Ambassador Chen is requesting a briefing before the negotiations begin. Of course, Trent nodded. Tell her I'll meet her in the diplomatic suite in 1 hour. As preparations for the historic meeting began, across space in the Imperial Palace, a similar debriefing was taking place. The human vessel's capabilities exceed our most pessimistic projections, the science advisor was explaining to the assembled council. Their stealth technology alone represents a quantum leap beyond current Imperial science. And this matter dissolution field, the applications are staggering, as is the restraint they showed in its use. Princess Selra pointed out. They could have annihilated Admiral Saurus's flagship, yet chose only to disable a single weapon system. Lord Admiral Kex, now under palace guard following his attempted coup, scowled. A calculated display to lull us into complacency. The moment we let down our guard... Silence, Emperor Draus commanded. You have forfeited your right to counsel with your actions today. Lord Admiral, guards, remove him. As Kex was escorted from the chamber, the Emperor turned to Commander Vesh. "Your assessment proved correct, Commander. We owe you our gratitude." Vesh bowed deeply. "I merely observed and reported your radiance." "You did considerably more," the Emperor countered. "Your advocacy for restraint prevented what could have become a catastrophic confrontation." He paused, considering. "I would have you represent our military interests in the upcoming negotiations." Vesh blinked in surprise. "Your Radiance, I am honored, but diplomatic affairs are outside my usual purview." "Precisely why I want you there," the Emperor explained. "You demonstrated the ability to assess a novel situation objectively, without being blinded by doctrine or prejudice. Such clarity will be valuable in establishing relations with these humans." Princess Selra stepped forward. "Father, if I may." Commander Vesh's insights would be complemented by a more traditional diplomatic presence. "Perhaps I could join the delegation as well?" The Emperor regarded his daughter thoughtfully. Selra had always shown an interest in foreign affairs, beyond what was expected of imperial royalty. "A wise suggestion. The two of you, along with Trade Minister Zalto, will represent our interests." As the council session concluded, Vesh found herself walking alongside Princess Selra through the palace's crystalline corridors. "That was adeptly done, Your Highness," Vesh observed. "Inserting yourself into the delegation." Selra's mandibles clicked in amusement. "I've been studying human culture and history for years, Commander. Their literature, their social structures, their unusual biological adaptations. They're fascinating. And potentially dangerous," Vesh added. "All the more reason to understand them better," Selra countered. "Today, they demonstrated not only advanced technology, but a sophisticated approach to conflict resolution. They could have responded to Admiral Saurus's attack with equal force. Instead, they chose minimal retaliation and continued dialogue." "A calculated risk that paid off," Vesh acknowledged. "Or perhaps an expression of their values," Selra suggested. "Either way, I look forward to learning more during our negotiations." 12 hours later, the neutral orbital station, a sleek, wheel-shaped structure rotating gently to provide artificial gravity, became the site of the historic first formal meeting between humanity and the Selkarian Empire. Captain Trent led the human delegation into the station's central conference chamber, accompanied by Ambassador Linda Torres and Dr. Arjun Mehta, Earth's foremost expert on non-human psychology. They found the Imperial representatives already seated, Commander Vesh in her formal military regalia, Princess Selra in robes of state that shimmered with embedded crystalline circuitry, and Trade Minister Zalto, a stocky Selkarian whose exoskeleton bore the distinctive markings of the merchant caste. "Welcome," Princess Selra greeted them in flawless English, surprising the human delegation. "We hope these accommodations are suitable for your physiological needs." "Perfectly suitable, Your Highness," Ambassador Torres replied with a diplomatic bow. "We appreciate your consideration." "You speak our language," Dr. Mehta observed, unable to hide his professional interest. "I have studied your species for some time," Selra explained. "Though this is my first opportunity to practice with native speakers." "Your pronunciation is excellent," Torres assured her. As the delegates took their seats around the circular table, designed specifically to avoid hierarchical positioning, Captain Trent found himself opposite Commander Vesh. Their eyes met briefly, each recognizing in the other a fellow military officer navigating unfamiliar diplomatic waters. "Before we begin formal negotiations," Vesh said, "I believe some context would be beneficial. Your arrival was unexpected. We would appreciate understanding how humanity developed the technology to penetrate our defense grid undetected." Trent glanced at Ambassador Torres, who nodded slightly. "The short answer, Commander, is necessity. For 50 years, the Empire has expanded its buffer zone toward Earth-controlled space, absorbing neutral systems, and establishing forward bases. Our analysts projected that within another decade, direct territorial conflicts would become inevitable. So you accelerated your military research, Trade Minister Zalto concluded. We accelerated all research, Dr. Mehta corrected. The quantum cloaking technology that concealed the Vanguard was originally developed for deep space exploration. The gravitational pulse system began as a mining technology for asteroid extraction. Dual-use technologies, Vesh noted, her expression unreadable. As are most of yours. I imagine, Trent replied evenly. The point is, we recognized that the power imbalance between our civilizations was leading toward conflict. We chose to address that imbalance directly, through technological development, rather than territorial expansion. And now, Princess Selra asked, having demonstrated your capabilities, what does humanity seek from the Empire? Ambassador Torres leaned forward. Recognition as equals, open trade, established borders, cultural exchange. The same things we have sought through conventional diplomatic channels for decades. Except now you negotiate from a position of strength, Trade Minister Zalto observed shrewdly. We negotiate from a position of mutual respect, Torres countered. The Vanguard's mission was to ensure we received your full attention, not to threaten or intimidate. A fine distinction, Vesh said dryly. Captain Trent met her gaze directly. Commander, had our intentions been hostile, events would have unfolded very differently today. After a moment's consideration, Vesh inclined her head in acknowledgement. A fair point, Captain. The initial tension broken. The delegations began working through the proposed treaty in earnest. Trade protocols were established, territorial boundaries defined, and cultural exchange programs outlined. The negotiations continued for hours, occasional disagreements arising, but always resolved through reasoned discussion rather than ultimatums. As the formal session concluded for a scheduled recess, Captain Trent found himself alone with Commander Vesh in the station's observation lounge, both gazing out at the stars and the distant shimmer of Selkar Prime. Your Emperor seems progressive for an imperial ruler, Trent observed. He has ruled for 3 centuries, Vesh replied. One does not survive that long without the capacity to adapt. And you? What do you think of these developments, Commander? Vesh considered the question carefully. I have spent my career defending the Empire against perceived threats. Today, I watched one such threat disable our flagship with surgical precision, then immediately return to diplomatic overtures. She turned to face him directly. It has been educational. For us as well, Trent acknowledged. We came prepared for a worst-case scenario that thankfully didn't materialize. Because you chose restraint, Vesh noted. As did we, ultimately. Perhaps that's the true foundation for any lasting peace, Trent suggested. The mutual recognition that while conflict is possible, it isn't inevitable. Vesh's mandibles clicked in what Trent had come to recognize as a thoughtful gesture. An interesting perspective, Captain. One I suspect we'll have ample opportunity to explore as our civilizations learn to coexist. 3 days later, in the same neutral station, representatives from both species gathered for the formal signing of what would come to be known as the Stella Conquered. The treaty established permanent diplomatic relations between humanity and the Selkarian Empire, defined territorial boundaries, created trade protocols, and, perhaps most significantly, included mutual defense provisions against external threats. Emperor Draus, attending via holographic projection, addressed the assembled dignitaries. Today marks not merely the end of isolation between our peoples, but the beginning of a new chapter in galactic affairs. The Selkarian Empire has stood alone as the preeminent power in this sector for 7 centuries. We now recognize humanity as an equal partner in maintaining peace and prosperity among the stars. Ambassador Torres, signing on behalf of the United Earth Government, responded, Humanity extends its hand, figuratively speaking, in friendship to the Selkarian people. While our path to this historic moment was unconventional, we believe the foundation we have established today will support centuries of peaceful cooperation. As the formal ceremony concluded and the delegates dispersed, Captain Trent found himself approached by Princess Selra. "Captain, a moment of your time?" "Of course, Your Highness." The princess led him to a quiet alcove away from the main gathering. "I wanted to inform you personally that I have been appointed as the Empire's first ambassador to Earth." Trent raised his eyebrows in surprise. "That's unexpected, and quite an honor for us. My father believes my interest in human culture makes me uniquely suited to the role," Selra explained. "Though I suspect he also wishes to demonstrate the importance the Empire places on our new relationship by sending a member of the royal family." "Either way, Earth will welcome you warmly," Trent assured her. "I also wish to ask—" Selra hesitated. An unusual display of uncertainty from an Imperial royal. "The Vanguard will be returning to Earth soon, yes? Tomorrow, in fact. Would it be possible for me to travel aboard your vessel? I believe experiencing human shipboard culture firsthand would be valuable preparation for my diplomatic duties." Trent considered the request. It was unorthodox. But then, everything about this mission had broken with convention. "I'll need to consult with Ambassador Torres and Earth Command. But speaking personally, I would be honored to have you aboard." Selra's compound eyes brightened. "Excellent. I look forward to learning more about the species that managed to surprise the unsurprisable Empire." The following day, as the HMS Vanguard prepared for departure, Captain Trent completed a final inspection of the ship before returning to the bridge. Commander Reeves greeted him with a status report. "All systems optimal. Captain, our guest has been settled in the diplomatic quarters, and Earth Command has acknowledged our return trajectory." "Very good. XO." Trent took his command chair, surveying the bridge crew with quiet pride. "Helm, begin undocking procedures. Let's go home." As the massive battleship detached from the orbital station and maneuvered away from Selkar Prime, Trent reflected on the mission's success. What had begun as a high-risk gambit, sending Earth's most advanced warship into the heart of Imperial territory, had resulted in diplomatic recognition, trade agreements, and the potential for genuine alliance. "Captain," the communications officer called. "Incoming transmission from Imperial Defense Command." "On screen," Trent ordered. Commander Vesh appeared, her formal uniform replaced by field armor. "Captain Trent, I wish to bid you farewell personally." "Commander Vesh, I appreciate the courtesy." "I've been reassigned," she informed him. "The Emperor has created a new division within Defense Command, the Human Affairs Strategic Office. I am to serve as its first director." Trent smiled. "Keeping an eye on us, Commander." "Learning from you, Captain," Vesh corrected. "Your arrival has sparked what our analysts are calling the human revelation, a fundamental reassessment of imperial military and diplomatic doctrine. I hope that reassessment leads to greater cooperation between our peoples," Trent said sincerely. "As do I," Vesh paused, then added. "Safe journey, Captain. I suspect our paths will cross again." "I'd count on it, Commander." As the transmission ended, Trent ordered the helm to set course for Earth. The Vanguard's advanced propulsion systems engaged, and the massive vessel accelerated smoothly away from Selkarian space. In her quarters, aboard the human vessel, Princess Selra meticulously recorded her observations in a personal journal. The humans' shipboard customs, their informal command structure compared to imperial standards, their curious blend of military discipline and individual initiative, all would be valuable insights for her diplomatic mission. Yet what fascinated her most was not their technology, impressive though it was, but their adaptability. In the span of a few generations, humans had evolved from a single-planet species to an interstellar power capable of challenging the Empire, not through conquest or numerical superiority, but through innovation and determination. If the Empire could learn from that example, Perhaps the human revelation would indeed mark the beginning of a new era, not one of conflict between expanding powers, but of cooperation between civilizations with complementary strengths. As the Vanguard accelerated to full speed, leaving the Selkarian system behind, rumors were already spreading throughout the Empire's border worlds. Stories of the human ship that had appeared undetected at the Empire's heart, of weapons that could vaporize matter without explosion or debris, of an emperor who had chosen diplomacy over war when faced with a superior force. Some tales were exaggerated, others understated, but all contained the kernel of truth that would reshape imperial society in the years to come. The age of unchallenged Selkarian dominance had ended. A new balance of power was emerging among the stars, one in which humanity would play a crucial role. And it had begun with a single question, echoing through the corridors of power. Who let a human battleship get this close? The answer, as both species would come to understand, was less important than the question itself, a question that had forced acknowledgement of a changing reality, and in doing so, opened the door to a more cooperative future. Aboard the Vanguard, Captain Trent stood at the viewport in his quarters, watching the stars streak by as the ship accelerated to faster-than-light speed. The mission had succeeded beyond Earth Command's most optimistic projections. Yet he knew this was just the beginning. The true test would come in the months and years ahead, as humans and Selkarians learned to work together despite their profound differences. Treaties could establish frameworks, but only sustained effort on both sides would build genuine trust. For now, though, he allowed himself to savor the victory. The Vanguard would return to Earth as a symbol of human ingenuity and restraint, the ship that had forced recognition from the galaxy's most powerful empire without firing a shot in anger. As Captain Elias Trent gazed into the infinite void, he reflected that true strength indeed lay, not in the use of force, but in the wisdom to know when holding back demonstrated greater power than striking out. It was a lesson both humanity and the Selkarian Empire would carry forward into their shared future among the stars.